me, I became jealous, envious. How could he get this big trophy and I not have one? It's not possible that this person could get one and I don't have one. And it wasn't a case that we were enemies or anything. It wasn't a case that we were great friends either. It was a rival. And my rival had got something that I always wanted and didn't have. So I said to him, okay, well, if you do karate and you got that trophy, take me to your karate club because I can get that trophy too. And he said, okay, cool, no problem, bring it there. Because he knew what I didn't know. He'd been training for a year, so he had some skills. Me, I just thought that I could go there, train a little bit, go and win some fights, and get a trophy. Yeah, that didn't really work out to plan. Okay, I did go to the karate club, you know, and I trained for a little bit, and I was so eager to fight, to learn to fight, to get this trophy that I used to put my own safety in jeopardy. What I mean by that is they used to kick the hell out of me quite often. And I would come home very often with headaches, bruises, busted lip, busted nose, various things. I actually quit karate. I quit. Well, I didn't quit because I wanted to give up. I quit because I couldn't financially afford to train. And although I wasn't even really good at karate at the time, I couldn't even say that I had a natural inclination for this sport. Because every time I used to go, I used to get hurt. Somebody would kick me in the head, somebody would sweep me, I've been kicked through double doors, you name it, it has happened to me. So I couldn't even say that I was really good, but I still wanted to train. Why? I wanted this trophy. He had something that I wanted and I couldn't get it.
Yep.
Couldn't let it go, but I couldn't train because I couldn't afford to train. I quit. And then a few, maybe weeks later, I went back to the karate club to try training. Lasted another couple of weeks and then basically said to my instructor, look, I can't come back to karate anymore. He said to me, why? I said, well, to be honest, I'm embarrassed, but I can't afford 50 pence a lesson. 50 pence a lesson. I cannot tell you what that is in krona, but it's really little. He turned around and he said to me, don't worry about 50 pence a lesson. You can pay me when you want. Just come and train. It's at this point, as you get older, you realize that other people see things inside of you that you don't even realize you see that are inside yourself. And I have to think about this because maybe he saw something in me that I didn't even know existed in myself. Because he didn't know me that well. Didn't know me at all, really. 6 weeks, few months. I was able to say, don't worry about the money, come and train. Okay, come and train. I used to live about 2 miles from my dojo. I couldn't even afford to catch the bus sometimes, so I used to run. Run there, and then sometimes I'd take a lift back with my instructor, or in the latter years, I would run there and run back as part of my training. And I started training. And I would train. It took 9 months, approximately 9 months. And something amazing happened. I was fighting, I remember I told you before, I used to get kicked through double doors, I would get kicked in the head, people would sweep me. They would do whatever they wanted with me because I wasn't that good. And the most amazing thing happened one day. I blocked. learned how to block. Somebody went to do a kick and I blocked. And the look on the person's face said everything. Because it changed everything about how they would approach me when it came to a fight. And from the moment I learned how to block and the moment I learned how to move and at least start protecting myself, not only did it change the way they saw me, it also changed the way that I saw myself. My confidence started to rise. I started to actually, maybe there is something there, maybe I can do this. But in the back of my head, he's got a trophy. And I don't have it yet. I don't have it yet. It's my motivation. He's got a trophy and I don't have one. So it keeps me training. It keeps me training. And slowly but surely, I'm getting better. I'm getting better. Now, I say to you, I am not, I wouldn't say I was particularly gifted in any way. Not a great kicker. I didn't have a particularly pleasing style to the eye. I wasn't flamboyant or anything. But I understood one thing. I understood that if I know how to do one thing good, just one thing, that is the key that will help me. That is the base that I can use to develop everything else. Good enough to go to a tournament. It took me a year and a half to go to my first tournament. A year and a half. Why? I couldn't afford to go. I couldn't afford to go to a tournament. The tournament I went to was actually in my own backyard. And funny enough, Raf's dojo is actually at the same place where I went to my first tournament. And I remember it was probably about 1983. 1983, when 83, big number for you guys. And I'm entering my first tournament, and I'm in the room, and I'm fighting my first fight, and I remember fighting a guy slightly smaller than me, but we only used to fight for 2 points. The tournament cost me £2. You know how many paper rounds you have to do in order to save that money? It's a week. Fighting in this tournament, and the boy takes the first point. And I can't believe what's happening. I spent £2 is floating away, and I'm going to come to my tournament, my first tournament, and lose. And something switched. Stepped off the line, punch. Stepped off the line, punch. Won the fight. Came out second fight, did the same thing again. Third fight, did the same thing again. Fourth fight, did the same thing. And back in those days, there were people in 2 fights. We didn't just do 2 rounds and that was it. Do a few rounds. Do a few rounds. It was the only technique I had. But I realized early I could do it well. So, but I got one. I proved that I could get a trophy. Over the years, started fighting more tournaments. And as I started fighting more tournaments, obviously things started developing. Started developing a wider range of techniques. Gyakuzuki, Kizami Gyaku, Gyakuzuki, Kizami Gyaku. Kizami Gyaku, Gyakuzuki. That's all I needed at the time. That's all I needed at the time. And slowly I was gaining some success. In 1984, I was selected to represent England at my first Junior European Championships after only doing karate for 3 years. I went to, the tournament was in Italy, my first Junior European Championship. Didn't know what to expect, but I was fortunate enough to perform well enough to get a bronze medal. 4 other people got gold that year, so the bronze medal is probably hidden behind those. But for me, it was a great success because, in actual fact, I was not somebody that would be considered to gain any medals. Again, up until this point, I wouldn't consider myself as anything special. There was no real glimmer or fantastic thing that you can look at me and say, this boy is absolutely 100% special. Nothing. I fought in 4 Junior European Championships, and on my 4th attempt in 1987, I managed to win gold. Still not special. Just Junior European Champion. Not special. But I've got a lot of trophies now, and some big ones. My training had started to develop as well. By the time 1987 came around, I had taken it upon myself to do extra training. Get up in the morning, go for a run. All of this is ad lib. I don't know what I'm doing. I just think to myself, I need to get fitter. How do I get fitter? Okay, let's go for a run. So I used to run around a local park, Downs Park. If you're from Hackney, you know Downs Park. Used to run around Downs Park. And I used to think to myself, I need to get faster. How can I get faster? I'll maybe do some sprints. Let's do some sprint training, just off the bat. Sprint, jog down, sprint, jog down. I wonder what it'd be like if I did this up and down the hill. I've tried that a few times. A lot of the training back then and the things that I did was a lot of trial and error. I used to think about how I could develop something and then think of something else in order to try to develop that for what I needed. But slowly, I start building up a training regime. There's still nothing special about me yet. Nothing special, just ordinary. And I keep telling you this because how I saw myself was different to how other people saw me. But for me, I'm not special yet. And I'm sure to other people, I'm not special yet. 1988 was a very interesting and, I suppose, in a way, some may find it conflicting. I wasn't selected for Senior European Championships in 1987, although I was Junior European Champion. And, of course, why should I be? There are other seniors there that are more experienced, and already we had a European champion in that weight category. In 1986, Willie Thomas went to his first Senior European Championships and won. Can you imagine somebody that from my era, my age, gets selected to go to a Senior European Championship and wins the first time out? Can you imagine what that feels to someone like me? I mean, he's European champion. I trained like hell to get the same trophy as Charles. This person's gonna... Anyway. But what that told me was, if he could do it, I can do it. If he can win, I can win. Hands down. And in '88, the final selection for European Championships came down to myself and my instructor. You know, the same guy that made me train for free. The same person that saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. He is still my instructor today. He is still the greatest influence in my karate that ever will be, and I call him Dad. But there is something I have to do. There is something I want to achieve. There's something I have to do. And we fight. And I win. And I get to go to European Championships. And he's not mad. He's not upset with me. He's proud. So I go with his blessing. And I go to European Championships in '88, and I prepared for it as best as possible. I tried hard. I was running, doing some weights, I was doing everything I could to best prepare for this championship. And when I got out there for the pre-train, it was the worst pre-train I ever had in my whole entire life. Couldn't fight. Technique was not good. My peers, the other teammates, would say to me, "You're fighting like a street fighter." Looking at me, and in their head thinking, "You don't deserve to be here. You don't deserve to be here." I used to have to train over in the corner with another guy just to work on whatever we wanted to work on, because the rest of the national squad were doing really fantastic stuff. Believe me, this is what happened. After the fourth night, I went to my room, bawling my eyes out, crying. Crying. Oh, I know. I know what I know. I feel what I feel. So I go to the European Championship and we start. And the team on the first day, they get bronze. And then the second day is individual. Everybody's fighting. There's only one coach. The coach is not concerned with me because for the whole week I have shown him nothing. Because I'm not special. I am fighting on my own for the first 3 rounds with no coach. I win the first fight. I win the second fight. I win the third fight. My fourth fight was against the European champion from the previous year. His name is Batti from Italy. Beat him 3-2. I'm in the semi-final. Now I have a coach. All of a sudden there's a coach. I have a coach. Hey, coach, I have a coach. My fight to get into the final is against a fighter called Jimmy Collins. He is, or was, 1984 world champion. Somebody has a big reputation. Somebody told me how to beat him. Every time he stamps his foot, he attacks. It's easy for me because I have good timing, good gyakuzuki. The moment he stamps his foot, I get it. 6-1. Take him out. 6-1. Because I know what I know. I believe what I believe. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. I know what I know. Believe what I believe. I fight the final. It's famous final. Against a fighter from Holland. In this fight, it takes me back to a training session, a single training session that I did in 1987, February, where I learned a technique. Didn't really think much of the technique because I didn't think the technique would work. I never thought about it. But on this day in 1988, in the European Championship final, I found the perfect situation for this technique. And that is when the knee up, sweep the leg, and finish was born. That day, in the European Championship final. Of course the crowd went mad. Never seen anything like that. Why should they? Because I'm not special. But I know what I know. And I feel what I feel. Yes. 3-0. I'm European champion. Senior European champion. I still don't think I'm that special yet. Not that special. But I select for Senior World Championship that year, 88 in Cairo, and I get selected. And I'm only thinking of individual. I'm not special. There's so many great fighters before me for the team, so it's no problem. However, I get selected for team. But I was the last person for the team. Meaning I was carrying all of the bags, coming around with all the bags while the superstars do their thing. And don't get me wrong, they were superstars. Greatest fighters that I ever had the privilege of fighting with. They were inspiration to me. We had won our fights up until Spain. And in the semi-final, we had Japan. Japan had just won their first 2 fights. And Tiki had made me number 3. This is my first fight at a World Championship against Japan. Try to put yourself in the position. Let me set the scenario. Japan had won the first 2 fights. Great Britain had already won the World Championship 3 times in a row already. I am number 3, and the only thing that stands between Japan going to the final is me. I'm not special, but I know what I know, feel what I feel. Japan lose 6-1. Why? Because I have a good punch. I only need one good technique. Good punch. We win that year. It's my first world championship, my first world title. Incidentally, in the individual, I lose to Terry Massey in quarterfinal. Terry Massey, he went on to win. Great fighter. I lose for bronze medal, unfortunately, but I knew one thing. After that day, I knew I would go to every single world championship after that day. As I'm explaining all of this to the person that's interviewing me, he starts to say, but 1990, you win 2 gold medals. I said, yeah. He said, then in 1992, you won another gold medal. Yeah. 93, you are World Cup champion. Yeah. 94, 95, 96 European championships, all 3 back to back. Yeah. 95 World Cup champion. Yeah. World Games. Yeah. You say you're not special. No, not special. I just know what I know, feel what I feel. Well, what is it you know, and what is it you feel? And this is the nuts of it. I have what you would consider a strong mental resolve. An unbreakable mental toughness that says, I will. I will. That's it. And it is the only part that I can control. I can't control what others think about me. I can't control what's happening on the other side of the world. The only thing I can control is what goes on up here. And I train hard. It is my training that enables me to develop my mental strength. I am obsessed with the idea that if I don't train, my opponents will be training harder. Obsessed. It is my genuine thought that if I don't get up and train today, Tallarico is going to train today. Thomas Herrero is going to train today. Daniel Devagilli over there is going to train today. Michael Bronze is going to train today. David Phillips, they're going to train today. If I don't get up and train, they're going to beat me. They're going to beat me. So when I train, I 100% believe I train harder than the rest. Doesn't matter whether it's true or not, but I believe it. I believe I train harder than the rest. And because I train harder than you, I deserve to win. I deserve to win. It belongs to me. I close my eyes for 6 months and see myself on the rostrum and looking down on everybody. Every time I close my eyes, looking down at Tallarico, yeah, looking down the rest of them, yeah, you stay down there. It's my world. It's my world. And I know if I fight to the best of my ability, I win. I win. The other thing that has to be married with this is my emotional check. There is an emotional state that I have to be in by the time I get to a tournament that will enable me to perform to my best. The interviewer says to me, talk to me about this emotional state. I said, well, it's like this. What I try to do is feel a range of emotions all at the same time and try and bottle it into one unit. He's looking at me confused. What do you mean? I said, well, I am scared. I am nervous. I am happy. I am sad. I am all those things, all at once, all at the same time. And I have to be able to contain it in a ball. And when I can contain that, I know the emotional way it makes me feel. And once I am able to feel that way, I know I'm ready. This is not something that you can do every single day, because it takes too much energy, it takes too much, it takes a lot of effort to be able to do this. So it is something that you preserve for the big tournament. At the start of every year, as the clock hits the 1st of January, I say to myself, English, European, world champion. It is already a foregone conclusion for me that these are the tournaments I will be at. These are the tournaments that I will win. These are the tournaments that I have to peak for and feel emotionally and mentally ready for. I'm not saying it would work for everybody, just telling you how I deal with competition, telling you how I prepare. During my runs, to also help me mentally, yes, I do a lot of visualization all the time. But one of the things that I used to like doing is going for a run and picking out a single spot in the very far distance. And it used to help me focus and basically just run to that spot. My peripheral vision is great. I can see if somebody's coming beside of me, but I am focused on that spot. And I don't take my eyes off that spot until I reach there. And in the back of my head, well, not the back of my head, because sometimes I hum it to myself, all I'm saying to myself is, Wayne Otto, world champion. Yeah, it sounds good. That's it. Wayne Otto, world champion. Yeah, it sounds good.